This is Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, brought to you by the Iowa Soybean Association. Your daily recap of the information that affects Iowa's farmers, producers, and consumers, right here in the heart of the heartland. With reports from our award-winning broadcast team of Dustin Hoffman, Riley Smith, and Mark Magnuson. Now, from the IARN studios in Des Moines, here's Mark Magnuson.
Hello and welcome into Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Mark Magnuson. Today is Friday, June 21st, 2024, and we're so glad you can join us for today's show. In today's episode, it is the latest edition of Between the Pods. Today's episode will feature a conversation with Marty Danzer. He is the District 4 Director with the Iowa Soybean Association, and we will discuss the upcoming ISA Experience Class. It is time now for our closing market summary.
It's time now for the Ag Matters PM Closing Market Summary, your source for market analysis and settlement prices from the day's trade in Chicago, courtesy of the folks at agmarket.net.
At the end of another trading day, we are joined now by Kenan Layden of agmarket.net for our closing market summary. Kenan, what did we see take place in the grains today?
It's colorful map season, as some people like to call it, where the market is going to be trading weather. And that GFS run came in cooler, wetter in parts of the Midwest, and we saw pressure placed on the markets. Corn closed down for the day. Wheat was really pressured. Some of that is stabilizing, forecast for international wheat production. And then soybeans held at some really important technical levels, and they were actually positive on the day. So that was good to see that complex hold.
So, Kenan, when we talk about those weather forecasts, there's several different forecasts you can look at, obviously, and several from agencies like the USDA that really help out a lot. But how do we factor that into the ag marketplace? Because at the same time, you still want to see that weather actually take place, don't you, if you're a trader and you're thinking about making these decisions?
Yeah, that is a great question. So yeah, you want to take advantage, I think, of these weather opportunities. The GFS and the European model have had some discrepancies, but they've kind of coalesced and come together here a little more, and that's probably placed some pressure on the market. But yeah, you want to see the good forecast, which pressure prices, but you also want, like you said, to see some premium built in this market to make some sales. So I think when you see the weather rallies with the subsoil moisture we have, it's something that you need to think about taking advantage of as a marketer in the space.
And from what I understand on the recent long-term forecast that we got from the Weather Prediction Center, it does sound like it's going to be a hot, warm second half of the growing season, later into July, that September range as well. So it sounds like it could flip to kind of the opposite of what we saw early in the season, where it was very wet to start things off.
Yeah, so I always take long-range forecasts with a grain of salt. I think one really good resource for your listeners, if they aren't aware, is if you Nutrients Eggs weather website. Eric Snodgrass, I think, does some of the best jobs on explaining what's happening and what to watch for in the weather forecast. Not to digress from your question, but I think, if your listeners are, looking for some place to go, I would definitely recommend Googling Nutrient Egg weather website.
On the other side of the ag marketplace, what did we see take place with the cattle and hogs today?
Yeah, so cattle closed lower on the day ahead of the cattle on feed report, maybe some positioning based on numbers they think are going to come out. It seems like from what I've read that the report should be fairly neutral to slightly bullish, but the market kind of sold off today, maybe positioning before that report. So we'll see what comes in here in a little bit. And, the hog market continues to be under pressure. Some of the front month contracts had a little life today, but they don't want to deviate from cash too much. But that technical selling in that market has been really pushing stuff down. So hopefully at some point we can find some bottom. But exports came in week 2 on pork, so it's something that maybe we can get some demand from domestically and increase exports to kind of stop the falling knife there.
And then, Kenan, just to wrap up here today, I wanted to ask you, you're located in North Dakota. not too far away from the state of Iowa geographically, but at the same time, it sounds like you've had quite a different start to the growing season. Could you tell us what the weather has been doing in North Dakota here in just recent days?
Yeah, so Eastern North Dakota has been very wet. Some possible PP and, you know, a lot of cool, wet weather. So everyone's talking about the wet weather in Minnesota and parts of South Dakota, but you can include Eastern North Dakota in that. And with that cool, wet weather, there's been a lack of heat units and growing degree days, and the corn is just short, having trouble getting growing. You know, we have like B2 corn here. Here, guys at Egg Market talk about their tasseling corn in their backyard. We're a far cry from that. Actually, in parts of Southwest North Dakota, which isn't really corn and soybean country, but a lot of spring wheat, canola, specialty crops, they actually froze this week on the summer solstice. They had, you know, temperatures below 32 degrees for a couple hours down there. So really kind of just points to how cool and cold it's been up here. And when you talk to farmers on the phone from this area, that's the number one issue is they're just not getting the heat to push the crops along, even with all the great moisture that's been had within the state.
Frost on the summer solstice, it just sounds strange, but you know what? I guess that's why farmers are so resilient. He is Kenan Layden. He is with agmarket.net with our closing market summary here today. Kenan, thanks so much for the time. What's the best way for our viewers to get in touch for more marketing information?
Yeah, just look us up on the web at agmarket.net. You know, the website is the name, and find someone in your area, fill out some informational forms if you're interested in getting some market news from us.
Thanks so much for the time here today, and have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you to Kenan Layden of agmarket.net for our market summary today. Let's turn now to the closing markets, which can be found under the markets tab of our website at iowaagnet.com.
July corn down 4 3/4 at $4.35 even. July soybeans up 5 1/4 at $11.60 1/2. July soybean meal up $4.20 at $3.61.80. July soybean oil down 3 cents at $43.94. Chicago wheat down 11 1/4 at $5.61 1/2. Minneapolis wheat down 7 1/4 at $6.11 1/2. Kansas City hard red wheat down 10 3/4 at $5.81 1/4. July oats down 12 1/4 at $3.07 even. On the Merc, August live cattle up 60 cents at $183.15. August feeder cattle down $1.45 at $258.37. July lean hogs up 90 cents at $92.05. July pork cutout down 50 cents at $103 even. Class 3 milk is unchanged at $19.77.
That is our ag market coverage for today. It is time now to hear from our sponsor, the Iowa Soybean Association and the Soybean Checkoff. And up next, it is the latest edition of Between the Pods.
Iowa Soybean Association is driven to deliver for Iowa's 40,000 soybean farmers. We're proud to provide objective agronomic research, a helping hand with soil and water stewardship, and timely industry news powered by the Soybean Checkoff. Learn more at iasoybeans.com.
You're watching Ag Matters PM, and it is time now for Between the Pods. In today's episode, I'm joined by Marty Danzer. He is the District 4 Director with ISA, and he's going to tell us all about the upcoming ISA Experience class.
It's time to go between the pods with the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network and the Iowa Soybean Association. For the next year, we will explore the ways Iowa-grown soybeans are making a difference at home and around the world. Now, here's your host of Between the Pods, Mark Magnuson.
Mark Magnuson for the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, and I'm here with Marty Danzer. He is the District 4 Director with the Iowa Soybean Association. And Marty, could you remind us, please, District 4, where is it located and where are you from?
Okay, District 4 entails west central Iowa, about 13 counties in west central Iowa. Basically goes from about Highway 71 west of the river, and I farm just southeast of Carroll. I've got a corn bean cattle operation, and I've been involved with Iowa Soybean for about 5 years now, and it's been a learning experience.
And Marty, that's exactly what we want to talk about today. That's a learning experience that's coming up here very shortly. It is the Iowa Soybean Association Experience Class. And when I think about this, it's kind of like the events you would see from Iowa Soybean Association all under one roof, except you're getting to go to the site, getting to experience these things. Could you tell us what the class is all about?
Well, in 2023, I went on an experience tour. It was a 3-day bus tour, and last year we kind of keyed in on west central Iowa. And we started out here in Des Moines and touring Flynn Wright. We actually went up to the Iowa State Research Farm. We toured Landis and Ralston, where they make the soybean oil in Ralston, Iowa. We went through Sioux City, went through Wilson Trailer, and then after that we went to the port of Blencoe, where New Co-op has their new port, and basically it's for shipping soybeans down the Missouri River and bringing fertilizer back. And then after that we went to Benson Hills, and we toured a soybean facility there where they take in soybeans from local producers to produce food-grade soybean products.
So, Marty, we talk all the time about what the checkoff is doing for Iowa's growers. And when we have the experience class, then you get to see that kind of in action and see it actually in the real world application.
Yeah, the checkoff, actually those dollars go for promotion, research, and education. And that's one of the things on this tour. You work with all these entities, and you basically see how, on the retail side, where things are made and how it's done. On the producer side, we're like in Benson Hills, where our soybeans go to get processed for food. And the big thing anymore is we're getting into the biofuels and the SAF fuels, airplane fuel. So there's always things that are going on and evolving. And so you learn about those things as you go on this trip and just kind of learn how things work.
And from the producer side, getting to see those added uses for soybeans, is that pretty cool to see in person?
It's awesome to see. Until I got involved with Iowa Soybean, you don't realize all the things that soybeans are used for. I mean, it's just in everyday life, there's just so many things that soybeans are used for, and you don't realize it.
And the Iowa Soybean Experience class is July 22nd through the 24th, 3-day trip. And again, you can still sign up. The applications for the experience class are due by June 26th, and you can sign up at iasoybeans.com, or you can contact a member of the producer services team to learn more or apply. And like Marty mentioned, last year's trip, all those great stops. This year, stops at Landis, ISA trial sites, the Mississippi River Port, Chevron REG, and much more. So again, just a lot to look forward to about those additional uses, all of the things that make Iowa soybeans great. And I guess it must be pretty cool, too, to come together with a group of producers, isn't it, for an event like this?
This year, it's going to key more on eastern Iowa. In the Landis tour, it's going to be a Landis facility in Mitchellville. And then when they tour the port, it's going to be in Davenport. And then Chevron is also going to be their plant, or the facility in Newton, Iowa. So it's keyed more to the eastern part of the state of Iowa for this year. But it brings people together as far as producers, that it'll be a group of about 20, 25 producers that kind of network, and you get to know different people, and it's just the learning curve of visiting with other people. And then you look at it on the retail side with Landis and some of those, you learn how things work on the other side of the fence.
And the experience class is open to any Iowa soybean farmer over the age of 21. So would you say, Marty, just anyone that fits that bill, should they be interested in this trip?
Definitely. Like you said, anyone that has soybeans and is over 21 years of age, to get in contact with them, you go to iasoybean.com, and you can register that way, fill out the application. The application's got to be in by June 26th. You can also go on the Iowa Soybean staff page and look up a phone number and get a hold of one of the producer services members and sign up that way.
So, Marty, as we wrap up here today, is there anything else you'd like to let our viewers, listeners know about here in Iowa when we comes to the experience class, other than just get involved?
Well, getting involved, and you're never too old to learn. I mean, that's one of the things with the experience class. I'm that age old one, but you meet a lot of new people, and it's just that experience of that networking with other producers and retailers.
He is Marty Danzer, District 4 Director with the Iowa Soybean Association. Marty, thanks so much for the time here today, and have a great time on the trip this year.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you to Marty Danzer of the Iowa Soybean Association for joining today's show. And that brings us to the end of today's episode. You can find all of our content on our website at iowaagnet.com. You can also follow us on Facebook, X, LinkedIn, and TikTok. And you can find our video content and previous episodes of AM/PM on our YouTube channel. Don't forget as well our free morning, midday, and closing market podcast, which are found on Apple, Amazon, Google, Spotify, and Podbean. Also, make sure you check out our daily Iowa Ag Matters podcast. From the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network studios in Des Moines, I'm Mark Magnuson. On behalf of Riley Smith, Dustin Huffman, Quentin Slater, and Andy Peterson, we thank you for watching. This has been Ag Matters PM.